So we are going to discuss, we continue with our discussion on introduction of Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to start from page number 28. Are you able to find that? Okay. Day 2. I mean, it's not the day 2, but just continuation of the introduction. So we have discussed yesterday that a person can understand Bhagavad Gita. Are you able to find? Yeah. A person can only understand Bhagavad Gita if he receives in it in parampara. And that means, and that parampara has to and should start from Krishna. And we also discussed there are 4 kinds of paramparas. And he has also the qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita is that he should be a devotee of Krishna. So now Prabhupada will elaborate what is the meaning of being a devotee. So let us go forward. That is to say, he must be a devotee in a direct relationship with the Lord. As soon as one becomes a devotee of the Lord, he also has a direct relationship with the Lord. That is a very elaborate subject matter, but briefly it can be stated that a devotee is in a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one of the 5 different ways. One may be a devotee in a passive state, one may be a devotee in an active state, one may be a devotee as a friend, one may be a devotee as a parent, one may be devotee as a conjugal lover. A small comment, most of you must be knowing these concepts, but a small point that all these relationships are individual relationships of a jiva with the living with the Supreme Lord. So it's not that a person who is in mood of friendship with the Supreme Lord that he will desire. You can come over here. It's too much of like a badminton show, I'm like this and this. So a person who is eternally a friendship has a sense of friendship towards the Lord. It's not that he will say, "Oh, I have to become Mother Yashoda." No, he doesn't like that. He appreciates the mother of Yashoda, love of Mother Yashoda, or love of Srimati Radharani, but he himself is fully satisfied in his loving relationship with Krishna as a friend. And it happens with all other relationships also. Only when a person is established in this relationship with the Lord that his life becomes perfect. So when a person, now Arjuna was in this kind of relationship with the Lord, and that's why the Lord revealed this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita within his heart. Arjuna was in a relationship with the Lord as friend. Of course, there is a gulf of difference between this friendship and the friendship found in the material world. This is transcendental friendship which cannot be had by everyone. First thing you have to understand, the friendship of this material world is based on sense gratification. You scratch my back and I'll scratch your back. And if you cannot scratch my back, then I'm not a friend. Are you able to understand these points? So in this world, in a friendship, I expect my sense gratification. That's why don't be surprised if people betray you. That's normal. Material relationships, they were betraying you right from the beginning of the relationship. It was betrayal only. Betrayal, you understand, cheating. So now when it becomes fully manifested, then why you become surprised? So the idea is but the friendship with Krishna is the devotee want to satisfy Krishna, and Krishna want to satisfy his devotees. That's how it is there. Much can be said on this. I want to say something more. One small pastime in this regard, that when Duryodhana and Arjun had gone to Krishna. No, I won't give this example. You know that when Bhishma has taken a vow that if Krishna does not pick up his a weapon, then I'll kill Arjuna. So now, Bhishma, I'll kill Arjuna. That was his vow, Bhishma. So when Bhishma Dev was fighting very, very strongly, very nicely, and Arjuna had some sweat on his forehead. So Lord saw it and he was thinking he will kill Arjuna today. To protect his dear devotee, his dear friend, Krishna was ready to be known as a person who is called Batachod, or who gives up the vow which he is given. For Kshatriya is a very great shame. From worldly consideration, Krishna is not a Kshatriya, but he's acting as a Kshatriya. People will call him bad name. What is this? He just gave up his vow. Although actually he had not lifted the weapon. And so when he was running with a Rathanga, Rath means that is one of the Anga of Rathas, that means the chakra. not a chakra, wheel rather. So as he was running to kill Bhishma Dev, Arjuna was trying to hold his feet. He could not hold. So Arjuna was ready to get himself killed, but he could not tolerate that people should condemn Krishna. So you see both sides like this. How nice. No, both of them do not want their sense gratification. It's selflessness from both sides. That's how it is there. That's why Prabhupada is saying this is transcendental friendship, which cannot be had by everyone. Of course, everyone has a particular relationship with the Lord, and that relationship is evoked by the perfection of devotional service. I give an example of what is the meaning of evoking. Have you heard of genie? What was that? Chirag. We had heard that story. There was a jinn inside a ghost inside a lamp. So when you rub the lamp, the ghost become manifested. The ghost is already there. It's not that you rub all the lamp, then the jinn will, the ghost will manifest. The ghost is already there. You rub and the ghost will come. I've never given this example, but it's a funny example. Similarly, the love for the Lord is already there in our hearts. Where is Sahil? Huh? People have gone to drink milk. And what does Shankaracharya say? Sakrit Gita Mrita Snanam Sansara Vala Nachanam. If you drink the nectar in Amrita of Bhagavad Gita, then Sansara Vala Nachanam. Anyways, what to do? Okay. So when we render service to Krishna, especially by Shravan Kirtan, by chanting Hare Krishna, by hearing Bhagavad Gita, then we're rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. And as the contamination of the heart gets cleared off, the natural love which is Jiva has for Krishna becomes manifested. So you understand? So one should not think whether I'll become perfect or not. You're already perfect. You have to just bring out the perfection. Make sense to you? Example, will I get love of God or not? No, just continue rubbing, or say cleaning. And when the heart gets completely cleansed, then you will see the manifestation of love of God. Okay. That's why there are so many rules and regulations. That means those activities which will contaminate our heart is strictly told in the Shastra not to be done. Like this illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, they will contaminate her heart, and that's why these sinful activities have been forbidden by Shastra and the Acharyas. It's not just to punish us or something like that. Just like if I have a problem and the doctor will say, don't take this, otherwise the disease will get aggravated. And being healthy is our natural situation. So if we take medicine, it's not that how to explain this? This is the example which Prabhupada gives. To be healthy is your natural situation. To have a loving relationship with the Lord is our natural situation. This situation where we don't want to be with Krishna, we are averse to Krishna, is our disease situation. So if we take the medicine of the holy name and diet prasadam and hearing about Krishna, then our natural healthy state of having a loving relationship with the Lord will manifest. Like jaundice. Another example is given that when the ability to walk or run is there in the child already. Simply by some practice, that becomes manifested. But the ability to fly in the sky is not there. So by practice, you can't make a child fly in the sky. Make sense? That's the whole point, that it is something very natural. That's why when we come to Krishna consciousness, we do not want to study. Naturally, because discussion of Bhagavad Gita is very tasteful. Krishna is pleased, so we are pleased. But material things, Krishna is not pleased. But in the present status of our life, not only have we forgotten the Supreme Lord, but we have forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord. Okay, this is very easy. Every living being, interesting, we have forgotten our eternal relationship. But eternal means the word eternal means it cannot be destroyed. It may be covered, but it cannot be destroyed. Eternal means even now it is there. You may not remember Krishna in your relationship with him, but he remembers you in his relationship with you. समझ रहे हैं? Just like a small child, if he suppose somehow or other is lost to his parents, so he may forget that who are his parents and this and that. But the parents are always remembering, we have a child. He must be suffering so much. And they are very eager to get the child back. I remember, my sister is here in Goshala. One time in Kartik she came. And what happened, one of her elder, I think at that time she had only one daughter at that time. So that daughter was little naughty. So they had gone outside within Goshala only. My sister and her husband, all they were in Goshala, roaming around and participating in the festival. And the child went because she was a little bit angry. She went in the room and locked the room from inside. So they were searching all over the Goshala like mad, crying, "Where is my child? Where is my child?" They forgot about the festival completely. And then they found her inside the room. But from there, I could see how much the parents are eager and how much they are loving their children. Isn't it? Similarly, Krishna is also like this. From there, we get a hint. Okay? So, eternal relationship means it was there in the past, and now also it is there. And Krishna always remembers he is never covered by Maya. So when you come before the Lord, He's not seeing your material form. He's seeing you. Does it make sense to you, Rajeshwar Prabhu? We are seeing our material form. We cannot see Krishna. But Krishna can see us. That's why we should go to temple. Not necessarily that we can see Him. But He can see and He should feel His compassion. Naturally, He feels compassion, but special compassion. Just like so many people are debilitated, but when they come before you, and if you're a soft-hearted person, oh, he's suffering so much, we must do something for him. Yes? And Krishna is the whole ocean of mercy. So that's what I'm trying to say. Krishna never forgets our relationship, his relationship with us. Every living being out of the many, many billions and trillions of living beings has a particular relationship with the Lord eternally. Beautiful point. Sahil, what we are doing? You are depriving Krishna of that one unique taste which he can have with you in his relationship with you. I'm talking to Sahil, but it all happens with all of us. Are you able to understand this point? You are not able to understand this point. Suppose Krishna is called Rasik Shekhar. He is the best among those who is in tasting rasa. So when Prem Krishna Prabhu is chanting Hare Krishna, rendering service to Krishna, Krishna derives a special taste from his service. That is amazing. Very difficult for us. That's why we tend to become envious. Oh, he can do this, I cannot do this. Nah. We should not become envious. And we should not try to become some other devotee also. We should appreciate every devotee's effort. Krishna, आप समझ रहे हैं मैं क्या बोलना चाहता हूँ? There are unlimited living entities. Everybody has a relationship with Krishna, and everybody has a unique relationship with Krishna. Just like we have a unique SIM card. Yes. When a company can provide you a unique SIM card, what is the difficulty? We have a unique thumb impression. Yes. So who is creating that? It's a unique retina. So what is the difficulty in having a unique relationship with Krishna? How unique, and that means when I have an interaction with Krishna, Krishna will be very personal. I can give another example. If you are a lover of good food, then you want so many items. Chutney chahiye, ye chahiye, wo chahiye. You want chutney, you want raita, and this and that. And with every item, you get a different taste. Okay? So every living entity is special. So never think that we are insignificant. We are insignificant constitutionally, but our love is very significant. Does it make sense to you? You should never think, oh, I am so insignificant, Krishna will not look at me also. No, not like that. Okay. That is called Swarupa. What is the meaning? Very, very deep meanings have to be understood. You see, in this world, we have a sharir, which is a covering on our Swarupa. Does it make sense? Just like this cloth is a covering on my body. Now, what is the meaning of Swarupa? Jiver Swarup hoye Krishner Nityadas. What does it mean? The Swarupa of the living entity is his service attitude towards Krishna. If the living entity is a friend of Krishna, so his form will also be like a boy, cowherd boy, who will serve Krishna eternally as a cowherd boy. It's a very deep subject matter. If the service attitude of a jiva is of a gopi, so that service attitude manifests the form or swarupa of the jiva, then eternally he will be like a gopi. If a living entity's service attitude is that I should be a rasgulla, then eternally he will be rasgulla which Krishna will eat. Not rare. Krishna eats so many laddus every day. Laddus and rice and everything is a person. Just like I give an example, you have known that Sudarshan Chakra of Lord Vishnu is a person also. Have you not heard that? So he wants to serve Lord Vishnu as a chakra. So when there is a need to serve Lord Vishnu as a chakra, he becomes chakra. And when there is a need to put chamar on Lord Vishnu, becomes a person. Suppose my mobile turns into a student. So when he wants to hear Bhagavad Gita class, he becomes a student. And when he wants to be a mobile phone, he becomes a mobile phone. It may seem, all these things may seem a myth to the non-devotees, but it's all completely true because we hear it from Shastra. I'm not speaking something out of my own speculation. Make sense to you? So Swarupa means your eternal service attitude toward Krishna, which will manifest in the form which will have in the spiritual world. And that will be manifested by chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. So Hare Krishna mantra is not an ordinary mantra. It is a Swarup revealing mantra. It reveals your eternal loving relationship with Krishna. It reveals your form. So see with how much sincerity we should try to chant Hare Krishna. And we were not even aware what was being offered to us when we began chanting Hare Krishna. Most probably the devotee who was offering us the Hare Krishna mantra also did not know what he was offering. Jayapataka Maharaj says, we do not know how much mercy we can give to others. I'm sorry, His Holiness, I should have added, I'm sorry. His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj says, we do not know how much mercy we are giving to others by giving them prasadam, by giving them harina. We ourselves don't know. We are doing this Gita class, maybe even 1% gets benefit. Krishna does not have much expectation also. Even 1% gets benefit. And even if nobody hears your Bhagavad Gita talk, you yourself will get purified. So we should be eager to learn this knowledge. Are you able to understand these things? By the process of devotional service, one can revive that Swarupa, and that stage is called Swarup Siddhi, or perfection of one's constitutional position. Did you understand this point? By chanting Hare Krishna, by hearing Bhagavatam, all these processes, we are trying to manifest our loving relationship of Swarupa or service attitude towards Krishna. Where is that? And it is not a cheap thing. It's not that I will tell you my Swarupa or I will tell your Swarupa to you. Be always aware of this. This problem seems to be since hundreds of years, and still people get bewildered. I'll go to a pure devotee, quote unquote, and he will tell me my Swarupa, and I'll learn this. Even during Srila Prabhupada's times, one person stopped coming for Mangalarti, stopped doing japa, and he closed the room. And people were surprised what he's doing. Then with the keyhole, they saw that like a peacock, coo, 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 he was jumping like this. And then devotees were inquisitive, why are they doing like this? He said, one pure devotee in Radha Kund told me that my Swarupa is peacock in spiritual world, so I'm trying to practice this. I'll tell you how we get Swarupa. Prabhupada explains in Adi Lila, I believe it is 7.34. Reference I'll give you again. He says, when a devotee, he continuously hears Krishna's pastimes. As he becomes advanced, that means in the level of Asakti Bhav, then he becomes particularly attracted to a particular pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So from there you can understand what is your eternal service attitude towards Krishna. But we are very far off. So we should not think, oh, I'll only hear about Gopi's love for Krishna. Then there's our imagination. Right now we are in Anartha Nivritti, hopefully. So we should behave at the level of where we are. And then whatever knowledge is needed by us, it will be given to us at a proper time. Okay. So nobody can tell, we should not expect people to tell us that we are frog or we are gopi or we are anything. Don't believe such people. Nobody tells you. Suppose Srila Prabhupada comes and tells you you are a gopi. What good that information is for you now? That's why it is not revealed to us also. It will be revealed in the heart by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. It is covered by the arrangement of the Lord. It will be revealed by the arrangement of the Lord. Does it make sense to you? You cannot forget your relationship with Krishna unless Krishna allows that. You know that the Avidya potency we have discussed that has been employed by the Lord only because I wanted to forget him. Otherwise, it is impossible for a jiva to forget Krishna. Does it make sense? Yes. So Arjuna was a devotee and he was in touch with the Supreme Lord in friendship. We can continue till 8:45 or you're tired? Huh? Okay. 8:45 will stop. How Arjuna accepted this Bhagavad Gita should be noted. His manner of acceptance is given in the 10th chapter. It's not that I become an official devotee. I should also have the attitude of a devotee, and that has been mentioned here. Arjuna vacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adi devam ajam vibhum ahustvam rishayah sarve devarshi naradastatha asito devalo vyasah swayam chaiva bravishime सर्वमेतदृतं मन्ये यन्मां वदसि केशवः नहि ते भगवान् व्यक्तिं विदुर्देवानदानवः. So I will not explain the Sanskrit right now because anyhow that will explain when I will give the class. But the most important point is Sarvam etadritam manye yanmam vadasi Keshava. Keshav, whatever you have told me, I accept them in toto. In toto means as it is. I do not doubt it. That is the whole point. And you can see the reason for his not doubting is not only that Krishna is speaking, but is also heard from various other sages also. See, if I tell you Krishna is God, and Sumudra Prabhu gives class and he says Krishna is not God, and Prem Krishna Prabhu says maybe Krishna is God, then your faith won't be strengthened. But if I say Krishna is God and Prem Krishna Prabhu says Krishna is God and he also says Krishna is God, then you say, oh, Krishna is God. Just like a small child is told by everyone to call his father Papa. Amazing, Krishna, thank you. I have never given this example ever in my life. Hear this. A small child is told by mother, please tell Papa, Papa. The grandmother comes says and call him Papa, Papa. The elder sister comes say Papa, Papa. So if everybody says the same person is Papa, so he himself keep on saying Papa, 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 he becomes convinced he's my father. And just imagine if mother said call him Papa and grandmother says no, call him Papa and the sister says call him Papa, then he will think, oh, there are three Papas and he'll become Papi. You understand? Amazing example. And that example has been told in Shastra also, that Mother Veda, Mother Shruti says Krishna is God, and elder brother Puran also says that Krishna is God. Like that is. So all of them are telling and that Krishna is Supreme Personality of God. That's how we have accepted like this. So we can see that the faith of Arjuna is not blind faith. It has been approved, it has been verified by various Shastra and it has been verified by the various sadhus, and now Lord himself is saying, and that's why Lord is telling. Because other people say, oh, why Krishna is saying that he is God? He is very proud. So they themselves are proud, they are envious of Krishna, and when Krishna tells them that I am God, they become envious of him, and that's why he does not reveal the knowledge to them. But when a devotee hears from Krishna or from pure devotees of Krishna, he becomes very happy. Oh, I know now who is God, what is my relationship with Lord, how can I please Him? And that's why a person who is non-envious actually can understand Krishna. I give an example also. If I'm envious and I see somebody becoming great, will I not become unhappy? Yes. And who is greater than Krishna? Mattaha parataram nanyad kinchid asti dhanam. There is nobody greater than Krishna. That's why Krishna does not speak Bhagavad Gita to those who are envious. They will become sad, they will become unhappy. And we will hear from Bhagavad Gita in 10th chapter, Arjuna says, I am becoming so happy to hear your glories. So because he is non-envious. Okay, because he's a pure devotee of Krishna. Arjuna said, you are the supreme personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narad, Asita, Deval, and Vyas confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. Oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. So, this is the point you have to understand. Whatever Krishna tells, that is the truth, ultimate truth for us. If Krishna says, I accept the food offered by my devotee, no doubts, even if I can't understand it. Okay, before that I go forward, I want to mention this point. A devotee does not accept the knowledge which is processed by his senses. He accepts the knowledge which he receives in parampara. Hare Krishna mantra may appear to be a sound vibration, but for the senses. But what a devotee accepts, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Make sense? The deity may appear to be like a photo or a statue, but that is what the senses are saying right now. But they accept the faith from the Shastra that he is supreme personality of Godhead and serves Krishna in that way. Why? Because he accepts that I am a conditioned soul. I cannot know Krishna with my present senses. And that's what we are seeing in Arjuna. Oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. And how does Krishna tells us? Through Shastra. In the life of a conditioned soul, Krishna comes first in the form of Shastra. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Why? Because Lord is completely transcendental and Lord is born before any one of us. Even if there's no question of even if my grandfather's body was not transcendental, but why I cannot know him directly? Very simple answer, because I was born afterwards. Can you see the difficulty? No? I cannot know the grandfather of my grandfather simply because I was born afterwards, even though the grandfather's body is not transcendental. And now everybody is manifested from Supreme Lord. So that difficulty is anyhow there, because they are born after him. Unless he tells, they cannot know anyhow. And on top of it, the Lord is transcendental. His body is not material. So it is the only way we can know about Krishna is when he personally speaks, or he gives the knowledge to his pure devotee and he speaks about Krishna. Does it make sense to you, Sahil? And that's why if we don't hear Shastra or don't want to hear Shastra, it means I don't want to know Krishna. You cannot know Krishna in any other way. And if I don't want to hear, so I am telling to Krishna, I don't want to know about you. And we don't know about him, then how will we love him? Make sense? After hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna accepted Krishna as Param Brahma, the Supreme Brahman. So that what is the point? The point is that other people, when he read Bhagavad Gita, they accept Krishna as a normal human being. Finished. They can't understand anything. Every living being, that means after understanding Bhagavad Gita, the first conclusion which should be established in our heart is Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. No doubt about it. And at this point, Bhagavatam starts. I meditate on Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 1.1.1. Bhagavad Gita brings to this conclusion that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Bhagavatam starts from this point. I meditate on Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vasudev. So So where Bhagavad Gita ends, Bhagavatam starts. That's why you should learn Bhagavad Gita before. Okay? Yes. Every living being is Brahman, but the living entity being or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is but the Supreme Living Being or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Supreme Brahman. That means one is dependent Brahman, another is independent controller, Supreme Brahman. It's an ashraya of everybody. Param Dham means that he is the supreme rest of or abode of everything. That means everything is coming from him, everything is maintained in him, and after annihilation, everything goes into him. Janvadi Asyatah. Pavitra means that he is pure, untainted by material contamination. So anybody who comes in contact with Krishna will also become pure. Purusham means that he is a supreme enjoyer. Sashvatam means original. Divya means transcendental. Adi Devam means the supreme personality of Godhead. Ajam means the unborn, and Anvibhum, the greatest. I'll finish when this theme changes. Now one may think that because Krishna was the friend of Arjuna, Arjuna was telling him all this by way of flattery. But Arjuna, just to drive out this kind of doubt from the minds of the readers of Bhagavad Gita, substantiates these praises in the next verse when he says that Krishna is accepted as a supreme personality of Godhead not only by himself, but by authorities like Narada, Asita Deval and Vyasdev. These are great personalities who distribute the Vedic knowledge as it is accepted by all acharyas. Therefore, Arjuna tells Krishna that he accepts whatever he says to be completely perfect. So you see, Arjuna's faith is not blind. What Krishna is speaking, he has also heard from great personalities. And this we have also seen in our life in material situation also. We may not know a subject matter, but we hear this. Oh, that doctor has said, or that philosopher has said, that scientist has said, and then we accept it. And then we think our faith is not blind. We are accepting the version of a great scientist. So basically, still we are putting faith. But we do not know how much scientists are knowing or not knowing. Basically, they are also conditioned souls and they make mistakes. I give an example for this. I heard that polio in 1953, they make a polio vaccine. And a vaccine, the virus is weakened. So it will not produce disease in the body. They did not weaken the virus sufficiently. So you see, a child was injected with the vaccine, he would have not got polio otherwise. But because the vaccine was not proper, tens and thousands of kids got this polio. And then some of them met death also. So we are having full faith on the scientists who are actually not fully capable. And they have a tendency to cheat also. But when we are accepting the words of Sripad Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Prabhupada, Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we are putting reasonable faith. Faith anyhow we have to put. And this faith will never go wrong. Make sense to you? Yes. Sarvam etad ritam manne. I accept everything you say to be true. So some people, what mistake they make, they will say, some portion of Bhagavad Gita I accept, but something I do not. Then they will also, Krishna is not pleased by this attitude, and Krishna will not reveal the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita within the heart. Arjuna also says that the personality of the Lord is very difficult to understand and that he cannot be known even by the great demigods. This means that the Lord cannot even be known by personalities greater than human beings. So how can a human being understand Lord Shri Krishna without becoming his devotee? You understand this point? Demigods by their own strength cannot understand Krishna. But then you say, how can a simple human being like me can understand? If you become a devotee of the Lord, then Lord, by being pleased by our efforts, he will reveal the knowledge within the heart. Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mama payantite. It makes sense to you? So it's all a matter of attitude, how I serve Krishna. Prabhupada says very heavy points. A person who has ulterior motivations, he cannot understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Thus Krishna will not manifest the thing. So we are all sincere. You are all sincere devotees. So then that's why you really want to understand Krishna through Bhagavad Gita. Then Krishna will reveal that knowledge. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken up in a spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality or even a very great personality. That means it's not that he is not a human being or not even a demigod. Lord Shri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So according to the statements of Bhagavad Gita or the statements of Arjuna, the person who is trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita we should at least theoretically accept Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and with that submissive spirit, we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. So I'm just speaking in a different way so that you understand this is the whole clue. If I do not at least theoretically accept that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we think that he's a human being and he can make mistakes, we can never understand Bhagavad Gita. We have to understand this is aparushaya gyan, that is completely perfect, infallible knowledge. Unless one reads the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it's very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita because it is a great mystery. You understand submissive spirit? I do not know, I am a fool. But Krishna is perfect, the spiritual master is perfect, and because he's repeating the words of Krishna, I must accept it. Even though at present I can't understand. So what we learned today, that Arjuna could understand Bhagavad Gita because he had this attitude of accepting Krishna's words in toto, that means as it is, and he accepted Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. And unless, this is the key point what we learned today, unless a person accepts that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead and in a submissive way understands Bhagavad Gita not by his personal interpretation but as per the understanding of previous Acharya, he cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. So the only way we can understand Bhagavad Gita is point number one, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, so whatever he speaks is perfect, and in that submissive spirit I should hear Bhagavad Gita in the assertion of Vaishnavas. Any questions, comments? Yes, Prabhuji.
So scriptures are the only way to know God. So means if we are accepting initially that Krishna is God, so what is the need to read Bhagavad Gita? Means after reading Bhagavad Gita, we will reach to the same conclusion. So initially also we are considering Krishna as God.
Okay, very good question. In the beginning we have accepted Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, so we know the knowledge. Then what is the need for reading Bhagavad Gita? When you accept Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, don't you want to know what he says also? Suppose if I say that person is a fool, then do you want to know what he wants to say? If if I accept that somebody is a fool, would you like to read his book? Isn't it? Normally, we have used to read in IIT, and you must have also read. When the author is there, he writes his name and he writes his degrees. And somehow or that if we know that this fellow has done his MTech or MS from America, no, definitely. Isn't it? We impressed. So we want to know and read his book. So Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means the knowledge which he is given must be transcendental. So we should be interested to know. Then, even if you have completed Bhagavad Gita, if you read again, it will always be fresh. You see, I have never taught Bhagavad Gita as Om Agyan Timirandasya. The way we taught this time, who gave the knowledge? Krishna only. And if I teach it again next time, Krishna will give me some more knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita is always fresh. It's not like, we know that shloka, we know that, who knows that? No, it's always fresh. It's not like newspaper. Yeah. So now one devotee is asking, why we forgot our unique relationship with Krishna? You see that question has been answered in 13th chapter. Very simple word, beginningless ignorance. The living entity from a beginningless point of time is forgetful of Krishna. That's how Krishna explains. Jeev and Prakriti are anadi, and that means material nature and the conditioned living entity have beginningless ignorance. That means the desire to enjoy the material nature is from a beginningless time within the heart of the living entity, and we must accept that simply. But it doesn't mean that we cannot revive our relationship with Krishna. It is beginningless ignorance, and not endless. It is beginningless, but can be ended if we learn in the association of devotees how to serve Krishna favorably. So does it answer your question? I think it should answer the question. No? Who says no? No? Yeah. Somebody says no? Okay. Because something which is beginningless, how will you explain? When something is beginningless, you can't even ask the question why. If something is beginningless, how can you ask the question why? Why did you do this? So when you're asking why, that means this incident happened at some point of time. Now this, whatever, our forgetfulness of Krishna is beyond time, beyond creation. So how will you ask why? Why are you asking why? That is the question. It is something which we cannot understand. So something which we cannot understand, should we try to understand? Something which is impossible to understand, should we try to understand? And something which is possible to understand, should we try to understand? So what is possible to understand? By chanting Hare Krishna, we can realize our relationship with Krishna. So we should ask not why we forgot. We should not ask why we forgot our relationship with Krishna. We should ask how should we revive our relationship with Krishna. The first question is impossible to answer. The second question is very easy to answer. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and serve Krishna. You give him food and give him, you hear Bhagavad Gita, and that way that's how Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karivayuda. Okay, so if there are no questions, I shall stop here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.